Everyone take a deep breath. Yes. I need 2 more minutes to finish setting up. So, Dexter, let me know when we're live.
We're live on YouTube.
Okay. Sure. Could I, so I need to connect to CF, I need to connect to the stereo. I'm being told that I can't connect. We're not going to be using video. The theme for tonight is the show must go on. Okay, we're on. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes in life we make mistakes. Sometimes in life we do terrible things. Sometimes we behave in ways that cause us to feel embarrassed and ashamed. When I told you that tonight we would be making history, I meant it. Because tonight we are going to have a collective breakthrough in bypassing shame in favor of pure, unadulterated egomania and narcissism. You see, ladies and gentlemen, I had a bit of a meltdown before, a meltdown brought on by things that would crush most people in half. Deportation. And as I continued to sweat, pools of it in my mesh underpants, thinking to myself, okay, this is it, I'm going to be fired. It was a disaster, it was all caught on camera, and you had to suffer through it. I traumatized you, and I'm not ashamed. I love you too. So the way that this is going to work, and the way that this needs to work in your life, and your life, and your lives, if anything like this ever happens to you, is to take the advice that Mad Men's Don Draper gave to Peggy when he found her in that maternity ward. This never happened. None of this ever happened. And if I may be as John Hamm-esque as Hassan Chowdhury effortlessly is, all the time, 24/7, 365. You won't believe how completely none of this ever happened. I don't feel like getting my big lazy ass out of this seat today. So I will be bringing you a seated musical number to introduce this show. Are you all ready? I said, are you all ready? Ladies and gentlemen, live from downtown Hamilton, it's Wednesday Night Live! Load up on guns and bring your friends. It's fun to lose and to pretend. She's overboard, she's self-assured. Oh no, I know a dirty word. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, 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 how low. With the lights out, it's less dangerous. Here we are now. Entertain us. I feel stupid and contagious. Here we are now. Entertain us. A mulatto, an albino, a mosquito. My libido. Hey! That's right, YouTube. And how are you doing, Facebook? We look forward to your calls and letters. I love you, Craig Ferguson. I'm worse at what I do best, and for this gift I do feel blessed. Our little group has always been and always will until the end. Hello, 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 how low. Sing it with me. Hello, 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 how low. Ladies and gentlemen, I love being here on this stage. I wouldn't be anywhere else, not even a detention cell. Nowhere. I owe it all to you. With the lights out, it's less dangerous. Here we are now. Entertain us. I feel so stupid and contagious. Here we are now. Entertain us. A mulatto, an albino, a mosquito. My libido. Hey! Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure being here with all of me this evening. I love being me, don't you? All right. So, first of all, a little less echo, please. Thank you. I love that. I appreciate that. I'm so grateful for that. You know what else I'm grateful for, ladies and gentlemen? The Center for the Talking Arts, right here at 154 James Street South in downtown Hamilton. It's an exceptional venue, a venue like none other. Is there any way that we could get a view of this delicious interior? You know, with the Center for Talking Arts, we're very inspired by our owner and founder, who will be coming on stage later. Maybe. We'll see. It was his idea to bring the world Turkish tea, which we offer for $10 a cup, but that cup is unlimited, and yes, it does runneth over. You see, we're open during the day now so that comedians, storytellers, all sorts of creatives can come in, take advantage of the free Wi-Fi, and have tea that can be customized with your choice of bergamot, vanilla, clary sage, or peppermint oils. But not only that, as garnishes, we have cardamom pods that I smash personally, the same way that I smash hosting a talk show. We also have rose petals, hibiscus leaves, lavender, usually just a garnish, but if you're special and, you know, you give it up to us 3-4 visits, we'll brew it for you custom, why not, on our induction cooktop. I strongly invite you to take advantage. I also strongly invite you to take advantage of our selection of Turkish sweet and savory pastries. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone in the audience is not getting a card, but you are getting free baklava. Please hand it out to the audience. It's on me. Free baklava on me. Save the Turkish delight. It's good for another 3 weeks. Eat heartily, people. We have gold-plated dinnerware, hand-engraved glass plates. It's a whole situation. Now, One last commercial message. Is that okay? To all of the comedians out there, both of you, tomorrow is our legendary open mic. Our open mic is the funniest night of any venue in this city. And you're invited to participate. It starts at 8 o'clock. It ends whenever we damn well decide it does. And I've got to tell you something. There are lots of great rooms in this town, okay? I'm banned from Levity, but it's a fantastic venue. I'm banned from Comedy Underground, but it's a great venue. Until last week, I was banned from the Iron Horse, and it's a great venue. Just go with the joke, Randy. I sure am, and I am winning. But this place really is the funniest. So if you're a civilian, please come in and laugh thanks to the damage done by a room of really strange people and their assorted traumas that have been turned into storytelling and hijinks. And if you're a comedian, definitely come in because I'm dead serious. It is so, so funny here. Who did? Did you do stand-up? Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, a star is born. In the shallow, the shallow. But before that, I want to introduce you to someone who I can truly say that I love. I met her at Dexter's Comedy Workshop. We bonded immediately. Randy, please stop pulling focus. We can give each other hand jobs later. Or not. Or not. Or not. I know. You know what's funny? On It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, there's The Waitress. And now you have one as well with a narrative that's just as enticing. So we will talk about that because I'm changing the format for tonight. All right. So back to Faye. So FAYE POLLETT is a locally adored comedianne. She has grown so much in the past 4 months. She is diverse. She is insightful. She is obscure, and she really has something special to offer the world. So ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for my first guest tonight, FAYE POLLETT. Hi, Faye.
Hello, Sean. My microphone isn't on. Intentionally. Now it is. Oogity boogity.
So Faye.
Sean.
So Faye, you've done this 3 times in the past 2 weeks. Tell me something. Is talking me down from a suicidal plunge your favorite activity?
Definitely top 5.
Okay, what are the other 4?
Wallowing in self-pity is definitely up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're here.
He's falling for me already.
I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad we're both here.
Yes.
Yeah, wallowing in self-pity is
Yes.
definitely a good one. Walking my dogs.
Yes.
That's fun. Eating.
Yes.
In general.
Yes.
Eating's really good. Cheese. Oh, I wish. I love cheese, but it doesn't love me.
Okay, what are the 4 food groups?
Are there only 4? Grains, vegetables, dairy, and protein.
Not in my book. In my book, the 4 food groups are dairy, starch, dairy, and starch.
Mm-hmm. And don't they just go well together?
Yeah, they oh god.
Cheesy starch. One time.
Yes.
One time.
Hi, Greg. Everyone say hello to Greg.
Hi, Greg. Is he here?
Well, no, he's watching.
Okay,
he's watching.
Hi,
He's watching.
Sarah.
That's your beloved.
My beloved.
And who else is watching tonight? Let's shout out to them.
My friend Sarah from North Bay.
Okay.
Is watching. Hi, Sarah.
Hi,
From
Sarah.
Switch. We love you. And Greg. Hi, Greg. You know what you did. One time, my friend.
And we're not talking about Claire because
Well,
she's going
she's
to.
here physically.
Because Claire,
And Claire's
you're too
watching.
interesting not to talk about, so you'll come up later. But okay, let's get right to it.
Let's get right to
One
it.
of the reasons that I invited you here, aside from adoring you profusely, was that as a child, you had a pet turkey named Carcass. And I think that that is something that the entire world needs to know about. So, Faye,
Yes.
please tell us about Carcass the turkey.
So Carcass the turkey wasn't actually a pet. I mean, by dad, he was. I grew up on a farm outside of North Bay. Let's put that out there. We raised turkeys for meat, as well as we had meat chickens and laying hens. And then we also had cows and pigs. And my grandfather had some goats. But Carcass was supposed to be food. And then he escaped somehow, like the culling of the turkeys, and he lived way longer than he should have. So he just
How old?
a couple years, which usually they're about a year, from you get them as chicks, you raise them throughout the year, and then you send them off in the fall or something. And I think he lived just over 2 years, and he got really fat, huge. He was very obese, and he was aggressive. And so my mom cut hair from home, and customers would pull it. Customers would pull in, and he would get all dominant and territorial and be like, "Meh, meh, 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 meh." And so we had to lock him up in a shed. And then
Show us with your hands how big he was.
he was big. He was a
Wow.
big boy. He was a big boy. He was big. And our turkeys would generally get pretty big, but then that just continued to grow. So it was he was obese for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a big boy.
And how did things end for Carcass?
Something ate him. Something.
What ate him? You?
No, we assume a fox.
Oh.
Yeah, he was. So we had him because he got so territorial. We had to put him in the shed, and we'd bring him food and everything, whatnot, food and water. But then one day we went out to feed him, and it was well, would you look at that? Carcass is a carcass. And but it was honestly at that point it was probably more of a mercy for him. Yeah. But I did have a pet chicken.
Okay.
Named Blue, because she got
Okay.
blue paint on her wing.
Okay.
And she was supposed to be a meat chicken.
And
But then I became friends with her. My parents were
how old were you?
It was probably around 8.
Okay.
Yeah. And she would follow me around. And so I started taking her on the slide with me and stuff. And my parents just couldn't, they let me keep her. But then she also got eaten by a fox or something.
We'll go with that.
Yeah.
All right. So you grew up
I did.
with these and other traumas,
Yes.
as we all do. And eventually you became interested in a few things. One of them, of course, being comedy, but the other one being Jungian psychology, dream analysis, the study of archetypes.
Yeah.
What do you like about that? What did that do for you?
I discovered Carl Gustav Jung when I think I discovered him after my father died. And my brother had kind of told me about him, but I didn't know too much. And then I was reading a book that my friend had given me, and I had just sitting under my nose forever. And it was talking about Carl Jung. And I was like, oh, is this the guy? And so I started watching and listening to a lot of videos that would cover him. There's a couple of YouTubers The Pursuit of Wonder or Enzinglaser or whatever it's pronounced. And I just really found a lot of comfort in the idea of these universal blueprints of sorry, I just heard clanking
That's
upstairs.
okay. I heard it too. I get easily distracted, but go ahead. I've got you covered.
Thank you. I found it very comforting to an extent to kind of like find the universal kind of like blueprints for like how our brains work, or like the idea of the shadow, and that we all have a shadow, and like no one's perfect, which is dope. And it's been very helpful to help me understand how my brain works and kind of process through the trauma that you mentioned. And yeah.
Okay, so let's get real. It seems as though all of North America is obsessed with trauma. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering if you're sick of hearing it, or the way that it's talked about. Because on one hand, you have to be responsible about what has gone on with you.
Absolutely.
But on the other hand, it's being discussed in what occurs to me as a very flippant way, and also a very superficial way.
Yes.
And also as a crutch.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's very easy to throw the word trauma around and be like, oh, well, I have trauma.
Like I did when I introduced the word. But it's okay, because we're funny.
We are funny. And hot.
Yes.
And humble.
Very hot.
And very humble.
So did this study kind of lead you to comedy? Or was it a totally unrelated thing?
I would say it was totally unrelated.
Okay.
I think it helped me. I would say you could say it led me to comedy in the way that I was using it to kind of take accountability for what happened to me and be able to like not let that be an excuse for how I acted. And in that, it was a natural step in my recovery, healing, whatever you want to call it, to step into the light and build more confidence. But it was pretty, it wasn't a direct shot to it.
Except, you know, if you're a comedian, you haven't recovered.
This is true.
Yeah.
No, and like I don't think you ever fully recover. Not even just as a comedian, but it's a lifelong process. Like when you're the recovery lifestyle, as some people might call it, whether it's like you're recovering from addiction or from, I mean, any type of addiction, but it's a continuous thing that you're dealing with and learning how to cope with for the rest of your life.
Yes.
Which is great. But yeah.
I actually have a question for the audience out there. Our online audience, as well as the thousands of people in the venue right now.
So many.
Does anyone have a dream that they would like to have analyzed? Something that's disturbed them or aroused them?
Ooh, you have
okay,
a
tell
dream?
us about it. Are you mic'd?
Want to come over here and...
Ladies and gentlemen, Jake Jenk.
Also, I just want to say I'm not a professional. This is just no, I just need to disclaim because this is a hobby. I'm not a professional. I'm not a psychiatrist. This is just something I enjoy, and I'm not trying to diagnose anyone or do anything like that.
Yeah, I didn't really want to get on stage, but I remember when I was a teenager.
Yes.
I think it was kind of like a daytime nap or something like that. And I remember getting up and having a very vivid recollection of a very vivid dream, which was that I had peeked down in between my legs, and I saw, instead of my penis, what I saw was a little tiny Hitler giving a speech. It's like,
That's hilarious.
that was my dick, was just basically Hitler, just yelling, like just raging. Yeah, so I'd like that analyzed, please.
Okay. Hold
I'd
on.
like that analyzed,
Hold on.
please.
If you're uncomfortable being on camera, I guess you could go.
No, I'm fine,
Okay.
but I just got to...
So I have follow-up questions.
Yeah.
So first of all, is this a joke?
No, it's for real.
Okay. So at that time in your life, what were your feelings about Hitler?
That's interesting. Well, probably more of a comical figure, because when you're a kid, you don't really see the gravity of it. You would just see like kind of a, Chaplin-esque kind of a... there was a TV show called Hogan's Heroes. Do you remember
Yes.
Hogan's Heroes? Where they actually kind of had a comedy set in a prisoner of war camp in Nazi Germany.
Yes.
Like, it's hilarious. So you didn't really think of it that way. But I mean, the reputation of Hitler is that it's some kind of a raging kind of,
And how old were you?
I don't know, like 18 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Had you had sex yet?
No, I think that was just before I lost my virginity. Yeah, so it was raging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is really like you kind of just, in your own sense, kind of
Yeah.
just told yourself
Yeah,
what that
exactly.
means,
Like
right?
it needed
Like the raging sexuality.
explode onto the world.
Yeah, just explode it all. That baby
So
batter.
Yeah.
So
But it's also a bit of a tyrant that just kind of rules, whether or not you want to or not. It's just doing things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you never made a painting or a print or an illustration of
No, I'm
this.
not that talented with the visual arts, but yeah, I mean, I could.
Jake,
make a
you're
song
talented
about
at
it,
everything that you do.
but Sure, if I took the time and effort to do it, I could be a great artist, of course.
Okay.
But if
who's got
it's
time?
the brain being interested in doing
Right.
it, right?
Faye.
So many things. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank
he-
you.
He's getting off stage. He doesn't want to be here for the actual analysis. So now we can talk about our patron and the subject of tonight's dream analysis. Faye, what do you make of that dream?
I mean, that budding sexuality. I mean, not budding, you're 18, but like sexuality and like the buildup of like if you're not able to release and not just, release, but like, for example, the shadow is like, if you ignore it and push it down, it's just going to build up stronger and stronger till it blows out. So having the like sexual urges and not being able to do anything with them, it's going to build up and up and up until you're like, blah. And maybe it's not going to be good, but it's kind of also like controlling your mind and dictating how you're behaving, maybe.
Well, that's brilliant. You know what else is brilliant? My analysis. Now, I want to start by telling everyone that I have a different take on dreams than most. You see, I happen to believe that dreams, cinema, and hallucinations, as well as schizophrenia, are all the same thing. And that they're all moments during which we access what Freud called the unconscious, and that they are real. Okay? So my belief, my understanding, my perspective is that in a certain way, film and television, paranoid hallucinations, dreams, they actually are real. And so it's not so much and that it's actually dangerous and unproductive to think of them as mere fantasies, right? And so when I hear about Jake's, I really know how to kill a mood. Wow. When I hear Jake's dream, to me it's like it's so obvious. It doesn't need any analysis. It's like that's the reality of the situation, and it's just allowed to be, right?
Yeah.
His cock's being a dictator. It's causing him to rage. It wants to claim territory. I don't know whether or not this spoke to any anti-Semitism in the choice of sexual partner that eventually happened.
Our favorite anti-Semite, Jake.
Really? That just adds a layer of complexity that we should have expected from you, quite frankly. Anyway, and also I want to say that there are many evolutionary biologists who are saying that given how urban life is becoming and how many other people's lives we can access through digital media, that paranoia should not be viewed as pathological, but rather as an evolutionary adaptation that's more attuned than in others, that enables us to perceive what's going on behind our backs. Because previously, without the tribe, you couldn't exist. I'm a loner. I can go for very long stretches of time without having contact with anyone, and I'm perfectly fine. I know that it's not great for me, but I can do it. But most people need to exist in a family, a tribe, a clan. And being kicked out of it is, for most people, devastating.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so thoughts?
On being kicked out of the clan?
Thoughts on anything, any of the genius things that I've said in the past 5 minutes.
I'm just almost speechless at the genius in front of me. Oh.
All right. What's your last name?
Why last name?
Because I'm about to introduce you and bring you on stage if you'd like. Faye, would you mind moving down one? No, we're about to get Merv Griffin. Ladies and gentlemen, FAYE Pollette's friend and recent Jewess, Claire Boyer. So first of all, thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you for hosting the show.
You're so radiant.
Thank you.
Isn't she?
You're like our own Aubrey Plaza. So what were you saying before?
Okay, this is what I'm saying. So
And Faye, jump in, interrupt me, interrupt her, do whatever you want. It's your show
I'm
too.
thinking the people who live in the urban center, right? A lot of them don't actually have much interaction outside of social media, like the internet. And I genuinely feel like the internet is building a mass collective consciousness, you know? Like everyone puts their entire life on the internet. Like every thought they have, everything they ever do, they all put it on the internet, which is what? Some one thing that we all share, right? So we feel like a lot of us, don't have religion anymore, right? And so like we need to turn to guidance. Where do we turn? We go on like social media or whatever. And so we're just looking at what everyone else is doing in hopes of like, oh my God, we need, like, what am I supposed to do? So you find like, I don't know about older people, but younger people, everyone just does what everyone else is doing. Like every single person has become like the same person. And we're creating this one like collective culture, like one collective society over people who use the internet. And you can even see from like young people these days, they all use the same, like the internet is even breeding a new language that's universal. Like no matter what language you speak, Spanish, German, whatever, they use the same slang. And so it's honestly just breeding this one collective singular culture where people dress the same, they act the same, they say the same things, they all look at the exact same content, and then boom, you've created one perfect productive person who can contribute to society as it should.
Okay, so first of all, it's the Center for Talking Arts, not the Center for Comedy Arts. Everything can't be a laugh. Sometimes we can get profound. And are you sure I'm not your father? I loved everything you said. I agree with everything. You know who else talked about this sort of stuff? Marshall McLuhan, who was very inspired by Pierre Desjardins, who had this concept in the early 20th century, I believe, of something called the omega point. And his idea as a Jesuit scholar was that is that God creates human beings. Human beings emerge at first tribal, collectivized, undifferentiated, and indistinct. And that as technology does its work on us, because Marshall McLuhan had it saying, man makes machines, then machines make man over. That our technologies kind of help us differentiate and become individual. And it reaches a point as we become more electronic that how can I put this? We become differentiated to the point that each one of us is a universe such that we can choose to become one again, and then we go back to where we started, and the Big Bang happens again and again and again in this vortex. And that was his conception of the universe, and that very much influenced Marshall McLuhan, perhaps the world's greatest intellectual ever, perhaps, definitely Canada's. Very influential to me. Wonder if you ever heard of any of that stuff, or have any reactions to that stuff?
I've never really heard that exact stuff, but I definitely...
We could start a book club.
Yeah, we could. But no, I agree with the idea of like kind of what you're insinuating of like cyclical ways of evolution as like, yes, we continue to go up this way, but it's almost like...
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Everything is very cyclical, and we always like, we kind of
Like
reach
a
these...
corkscrew.
Yeah, or like we always kind of reach these like tipping points where it's like, oh, something isn't working. We resort back into like, I feel like there's just like different layers of consciousness people can reach, and like as they feel threatened or as they get like anxious in life, you know, like they kind of resort back into that like old primal tribal instincts of living where like you're kind of living out of like, oh my God, like basic needs of survival. And I guess that's where like the tribalism comes in, you know, people are really anxious about the future. So they're like, oh, what is everyone else doing? Let's go for a run. Like, I feel like everyone's running now. Like, what are you running from? Like, where?
My thoughts.
So you're 20 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering what causes you to be interested in all of this and also to be studying religion as intensely as you do. And so we had a conversation.
I have a strange life story, so.
Well, you have 3 minutes to tell everyone what it is.
Okay, 3 minutes to tell. I guess everything was normal until COVID.
And then what happened?
And then I was going so crazy with boredom, I just got a job. So now I was working full-time.
Doing what?
At Tim Hortons.
Okay.
But then, so that was grade 11. Then grade 12, I was still working full-time and then doing all my schoolwork after school. But then I got too good. Like, Tim Hortons was boring. Like, once I learn everything, I get bored.
Okay.
So then I went and worked in a kitchen at Farm Boy, and I got really good at that. Like, I actually started doing assistant chef manager stuff. But then it was the end of grade 12, and I never went to school because it was COVID, and I just had some money. So then I ended up moving out west, and then I moved out west by myself, and I was 17, and I lived in the staff accommodation that was a trailer park, and I did housekeeping there. But I met a lot of other people who traveled, and just from all around the world. So I did that for a bit, and then I came back home, and it was COVID again, and I worked in another kitchen, and it sucked. And then I moved back out west again because I was like, oh, I miss the mountains. So then I was living out west again, and it was great and awesome. And then I had to go back to school, so I went to school for a year, and I hated it. So then I moved back out west again, and then I was living out west, and I was like, this time I'm gonna live out west forever this time, not just seasonal work. So I tried to fully make a living out there, but then there was no work. And then I came home, and then it burned down. And now I'm going to school again. And that's where I'm. Oh, also I backpacked across Mexico. I always forget about that, but I did that.
By herself.
By myself. I worked 3 jobs. I worked 65 hours a week. And in every moment I could, I taught myself Spanish. And then I used all the money I saved up, and I backpacked across Mexico by myself.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to the future. A Star Is Born. You want to sing Shallow with me afterward?
Sure.
All right. So tell us why religion interests you as a subject to study.
Well, for one, I'm really I don't really talk to people. I just after COVID, I just didn't talk to people or whatever. And then, it just happened. And the people who I did meet out west were on another level. They were just another level of consciousness, whatever. And we had some crazy talks.
Hold on. What do you mean by that?
What do I mean by that? They don't care about surface level stuff.
Okay.
They don't talk the way people
Why?
talk. Why?
Because
here.
you met a lot of nomads, or because?
Yeah, I guess a lot of nomads are kind of the same. I lived out of a backpack for 6 months. That's all I owned, and so it's you're not oh, what am I gonna wear today? It's these are the clothes that I own. It's always what am I gonna experience today? At the end of the day, the only objective you had in mind is what experience am I gonna have? So every day was something new. We're oh, today we're gonna bike an hour and climb this mountain, and then come home. Every day was an adventure, right? And a lot of people out there also lived that only had 5 shirts or whatever, but every day they just climb a mountain. And I guess for me, it's when I started climbing mountains, and when you, I don't know, something about that.
Because she climbs mountains too, ladies and gentlemen.
I did not.
She doesn't.
Why not?
This is not a mountain, but I guess I don't know. It's kind of another level.
Okay,
of
religion.
Existence. Yeah, religion. I don't
Why
know.
religion?
Why religion? Because there's just something about it where you're wow, the sun, the clouds, the mountains. It's just too beautiful. It's just so beautiful. And then I was oh.
So
who did this?
So
I don't know. I just
so let's
kept
recap
getting
where we're
deeper into it.
where we are. So what we're getting is that the more experiences that you have, and the greater diversity of them that you have,
there's just some things that can't be explained, I think.
the more sense of wonder that you
Yeah,
have.
more sense of wonder for sure.
And you could have explored it by studying biology or physics or anthropology, but you chose religion.
But I did. I did.
You chose religion.
I was doing I was doing housekeeping for a long time, and I just listened to audiobooks and podcasts all day because I was so bored. And I started with the surface level, especially oh, that's how they're made. But I'm okay, but what does that? And then I just kept getting in this rabbit hole of just okay, but okay, we talk about cells, and that was a theory that this guy discovered, but what made this guy think about this theory? And you just keep going down and down. At the end of the day, you're there must be a creator. Like that was just my train of thinking. Like, how does something come from nothing? Like, you can keep going, blah blah blah, and it goes back to like the Big Bang or whatever. And it's like, okay, but like that's still just a theory. So
Do we still believe it now? Now that we know that Stephen Hawking was on Epstein Island. By the way,
no way.
By the way, Epstein was. I think this is a good time for me to tell everyone that I think that Jeffrey Epstein was really hot.
You're sad you didn't get an invite?
What?
I'm kidding.
No, tell me.
I just said, are you sad you didn't get an invite?
Oh.
Well, you know what? That's actually there's a lot to go over. So here's the thing. You don't know me really.
No.
Okay, so I've recently come out brilliantly, I might add, from a 5-year-long slow burn, nervous breakdown, downward spiral, midlife crisis. Mm-hmm. There has been homelessness, jail time, a psychiatric ward stay, hallucinations. I've had conversations in another dimension of reality with God. Jordan Peterson, Madonna, Linda Carter, and the original lineup of Dragonette. It's an amazing lineup. And in that time, I did lots of stuff related to sex and drugs. Occasionally some rock and roll.
Nice.
And what's really funny now that I'm celibate and sober is that I get disgusted really easily. And being immoral or transgressive isn't interesting to me anymore. So there's the answer. So there's the very serious answer to your very funny question.
Okay, I actually agree too. But then this guy was sitting up here and saying stuff. I'm like, oh, is that what's funny? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I look, when it comes to jokes, I'm okay with everything. But when it comes with, serious choices, it's like, I don't know, I'm just not into it anymore. But he was hot.
Yeah, he was an attractive man.
Yeah, he was a very attractive man. I don't remember where we were, but I'm going to bring it back to center. I really want to sing like a prayer. I really want to sing like a prayer.
I hear your voice.
It's like an angel sighing. Do you know that song?
I have no choice. I hear your
You know that song?
voice.
Okay, so
Heaven help me when you call my name. It's like a little prayer. Sorry.
I'm down on my knees. I want to take you there in the midnight hour. I can feel your power just like a prayer. You know I'll take you there. Okay, so Claire, you're so interesting. I'm so glad that you came tonight.
Me too.
I like your point of view.
Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, Aubrey Plaza. Do you know who she is? She's this gorgeous actress who's kind of affect is similar to
I'll
yours.
show you her later. You might know where to see her.
How was that? And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, actually, ladies, please move down. Our next guest is a downtown Hamilton institution. He's a provocateur, a comedian, a writer and a musician. I'm very happy to bring up to the stage Randy Hughes.
Woo! Do you want us to get off?
No.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
You have to stay.
No!
You have to stay. I don't want to ruin the whole... You're not going to ruin anything. Get up here. We want you.
Stylish, beautiful women.
Aw, we are all beautiful women, aren't we?
Well, I do have nice breasts.
Randy.
She's scared already. You were really smart.
She is really smart.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, Randy, how are you doing?
I'm domesticated.
I'm domesticated. Not me.
Sean's going, yeah, sure, asshole. Right?
No, I'm not. I'm so happy to see you, especially since
You weren't banned, by the way. Don't worry about that.
we had a fight,
Yes, we did.
and we weren't talking.
That's okay, though.
I don't really feel like talking about
we're
that.
dramatic
We've had
people.
enough meltdowns for one night.
We're dramatic people.
We are.
They're terrified
So-
of our minds.
No,
you
they're
know?
not. So tell us about you, Randy. Where'd you grow up, etc.
Jesus. I grew up in La Belle Province, Montreal.
Okay, I just burped on camera.
Everyone burp.
Go ahead.
I already did my share this evening earlier when I was drinking. I grew up in Montreal in the West Island under the shadow of my big sister, the artiste. You know, piano, Moonlight Sonata.
And when did you move here?
20 years ago, yeah, approximately.
And how long have you been doing comedy?
20 years. But, you know, to no avail, but stop and start kind of thing, you know.
Randy,
Yes.
I need you to speak more positively about yourself.
Well, that's my whole act, isn't it? I have to get a whole new act if you want me to be positive. My God.
But you should be positive because you're hilarious.
Well,
even when
thank
you,
you.
even when you bomb, you're hilarious. You still own the room.
Well, if we were nicer to ourselves, we wouldn't be in comedy, would we?
Yeah, you know what? You're right.
We can be
I'm-
awesome and funny.
It's true. You can be nice to yourself off stage.
You hear that? We have some doctors here in the
It's true. I am
panel.
a doctor.
So,
Doctor,
I'm a lawyer.
so
doctor and a lawyer.
I'm sorry. What was that?
Doctor and a lawyer here. Jesus Christ. And you and I are what? Vagabonds? Cultural vagabonds?
We're derelicts, according to Jason.
Derelicts, according to Jason.
So, I've been invited to your Halloween show.
Yes, October 31st. That's the Iron Horse Resto Bar.
I have no idea how I'm going to be at two places at once because I work
you
here
will
next
be
Thursday
cloned
night.
through a scientific process.
Can I be telecast through WhatsApp or some similar
Well,
technology?
We will make it work.
Okay,
through
we'll have to figure out something.
technology.
So tell me what can I look forward to at this show?
Well, Miss Anya Anderson is hosting.
Yes.
A lovely Russian Canadian lady.
We love Anya.
Anya's going to be there. Greg Dabrowski.
We'd love her more if the show was here, but go ahead.
And yourself, of course. Maybe, you know. And myself. And, Edith Chavez, as you know, who you turned me on to. She's wonderful.
Oh, Edith is hilarious.
Edith is great.
Edith is hilarious.
She is fantastic. Huh?
And are there any updates in your own personal life that you'd like to share with everyone?
I am still in transition, which means unemployment, but you know. I'm not a hard worker like this lady here with these 65 hours a week. I spend my 65 hours a week self-loathing. That's
That's a full-time job.
That is a full-time job.
That's why I work so much. There's no time
For self, she's you know, she's what you call a go-getter.
And what are
Go-getter.
you called?
I'm there to pick up the slack from the go-getter so I can analyze things in its full import. You don't want to get too excited, okay, Sean? You know, you want to be able to analyze things before you get too bogged down. You know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're such good bullshitters, aren't we?
Sometimes. How do you and so do you love living at the YMCA as much as I do?
Yes, I do. I don't tell people until, of course, I talk to this guy who tells every person on YouTube and about 10 people listening.
Find out. People
They
find
do
out.
find out. Yeah. Oh my God.
I see that Jake's looking
Holy
at us. Is
shit.
this your way of saying that you want the show to end? Okay.
No, I
Cool.
I turned around and I saw this guy's face and I was going.
Everything
holy
has to end at
fuck.
some point.
Yeah. I turned around and saw this guy's face like holy. Jeez.
I'm always a little terrified
Oh my
when I see him
God.
come into view.
Well, it's like your conscience.
I always feel like I'm
you know?
doing
It's-
something
It's like when
wrong.
you've done something wrong and suddenly you realize, "My, I shouldn't have done that or thought that, I guess." Then you see your conscience right in your face like that. How did she become so smart so young? Were you smart like that at that age? Holy gosh. No,
I
I'm
don't go
serious.
to
do you want to
school.
know?
No, seriously,
No,
she's
well,
smart.
I'm willing to tell you.
I'm not.
I think we're making her feel uncomfortable. Let's put the
Well,
focus back on me.
I was. You got two people laughing at you.
Let's put the focus back on me.
Okay, well.
So here's the thing. So when I was young, I was remarkably successful. And the reason that I was remarkably successful is that I was egomaniacal, delusional, and I grew up in such a way that I didn't have any flesh and blood role models. Everyone who I looked up to and everyone who set the standard for normalcy was a celebrity. So there was no one that I ever actually touched or talked to or knew who was in any way, shape, or form. Oh, I was also super judgmental.
No.
Like super judgmental. And so like if I saw an advertising executive on television who was really successful, unrealistically so, to me that was normal. When I watched the early version of Martha Stewart's early television appearance, like, oh well, that's what it's like to make dinner. So my standards were super high. I was super judgmental, and living where I lived, that wasn't exactly an unusual phenomenon. I lived in a town called West New York, which was right next to another town called Jersey City, both of which were across the river from New York City. And when you are in English class in grade 11, and you look out the window and the New York City skyline is there, and you're living in a state that everybody makes fun of, New Jersey, and then you're across the river from what many people think of as the greatest city in the world, you have this sense of so far but so near, and you get this tremendous sense of yearning. So, yeah, I was brilliant when I was young, but because I was unhinged and ambitious and all of that, I was a lot more successful than I was in my 40s when I became more sensitive to how I was being in the world. I got to tell you something. I really prefer being delusional. I really prefer being egomaniacal. I mean,
It suits you.
I love it when it comes up, but it doesn't always come up. So does that answer your question, Randy?
Make them laugh. I mean, pretty girls laugh. That's all I'm here for. It's okay.
That's your only goal in life.
It really is. I'm gonna leave a shallow life. I used to have dreams and hope for the future, but leave that for the young people. Right now, I just want to get that applause break, and then I'm golden.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Randy Hughes.
Thank you.
Stay where you are. Stay where you are. Stay where you are. We're doing a commercial break. Somebody give me a product. Oh, phone. Okay.
Oh, phone.
Do you ever fantasize about being stalked?
Did you see that? She went like,
Hey, it's all about me right now. Have you ever craved the unconditional love of a stalker? Have you ever wanted to be in touch with someone or something that cared about every move that you made so much that it read all of your messages, constantly scanned your internet browsing history, figured out what your favorite colors were, and committing all sorts of acts of technological tomfoolery such that when you're innocently scanning through Temu, looking for a pair of tactical boots to go with your Shogun pants and your steampunk fur-lined duster, that it would secretly photograph and map your fingerprints. Well, if you've ever craved any of these things, all that you need to do is have an Android phone. Android, bringing the world the worst idea in the world, open source, leaving us prey to secret collection of everything about us so that it can be used against us. But then again, why not? Because it's also great for ordering pizza, scoring booty calls, ordering an Uber. And who needs conscientiousness, integrity, or radical self-protection when you can have all that convenience? Ladies and gentlemen, everyone needs a Samsung phone. Absolutely everyone. And I strongly suggest that you go out and buy one today. Actually, that's a lie. I hate all of that stuff. But I do want everyone to know about something in a new segment that I'm making up on the spot called Sean's Tech Corner. So here's the deal, people. There is... No, shut up. This is true. Tulsi Gabbard told me about it. So there's this whole new generation of Android phones and tablets and devices that are coming out. They all use e-ink, which is much better for your eyes. It's much better for battery life. It's a totally different experience. Some of these devices have physical keyboards. And they all have private label, rewritten versions of Android, such that the privacy is much better. Okay, I'm not going to name names because we don't do advertisements here unless they can pull a joke, unless they can pull a laugh or two. But I do want you to know that these devices are also affordable. They start as low as $250. If you want a tablet that's just as good as a high-end laptop with a detachable keyboard, you can get a really amazing one with full color e-ink, which is the wildest thing in the world, for like $1,700. Go out and get one, because in all seriousness, it's not fun to be spied on unless you ask for it, like me. Yeah, that was provocative and brilliant. I'm back. So, what have we learned today? We'll go around the room. Faye, what have we learned today?
Open source is bad.
In my opinion. Do you agree with that?
Little A, little B. Like, I can, yes and no, but that's a nuanced conversation that my brain isn't prepared for.
Okay.
But I've learned that. I learned about e-ink, which is better for your eyes, apparently. Yeah.
What did I learn?
What did you learn today?
I learned how to handle being in the public eye.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding. From you.
She's trying to top us already. What is that all about?
Randy, what have you learned today?
Humility is fleeting.
What I've learned today is that nothing lasts forever. Dexter,
Including.
what have you learned
pain.
today? That's the most important lesson of all. And Jake, what have you learned today? Bonus question. What did you think of our quasi-analysis of your dream? By the way, the most interesting dream that I've ever heard about in my entire life.
You haven't heard mine.
I think it was spot on. It was a good analysis. And I also learned today that cheese binds you up.
It does.
You haven't heard my dreams yet.
All right. Everyone, I love you so much. I'm so grateful that you came here. Now get off my stage.
Boy, oh boy. Love.
I'll be closing out with the song. Hey, any of you like Cole Porter? Any of you like Cole Porter? That's okay. So, I'd like to thank the Center for Talking Arts for hosting my meltdown and miraculous comeback. I'd like to thank my guests tonight, each and every one of them. Dr. Peterson, not now. He's... All right. But most of all, most importantly, I want to thank the most important figure in my life. That would be me. You're resilient. You're amazing. You're a borderline acceptable singer. Here we go. I'm always a flop at a top-notch affair, but I still got my health, so what do I care? My best friend, alas, is a game of solitaire, but I still got my health, so what do I care? My fashion and foppery are never discussed. I tend to the Opry, my box would be a bust. I never shall have that Park Avenue air, but I've got my health, so what do I care? The hip that I shake doesn't make people stare, but I've got my health, so what do I care? The side of my ass never stops a thoroughfare, but I still got my health, so what do I care? My face is my fortune, so some wise man spoke. My face is my fortune, that's why I'm totally broke. My ship ain't coming, so I'll grin why I bear. But I've got my vitamins, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. I still have mine. Got no diamonds, got no wealth, I got no man, but I got my health. See you next week, bitches!